Started off the recording here a little late, but bias was provided into the daily bias chat. We had, look at the hourly here, structure that supports the fact that we want to move higher. I'm looking at the lows. Total soup on Monday. See the candle bodies are staying above that soup line. We have intermediate term low here. So since we're bullish, I'm looking at just the lows and the bullish order flow, making sure we're holding bullish PD arrays. So we dropped into the higher time frame BISI here, held it, have a intermediate term low with a short term low to the right of it with SMT. So I'm looking at that as a protected low. It came up, continued to fill this entire gap, formed an intermediate term low there. We have a short term low to the right of it and the left of it, if you can see that. And then obviously with PM session high and the previous day high as the draw on liquidity. So I'm looking for basically a London low of the day, New York OTE expansion, as you typically would see. And the reason that London will be low of the day is if you look at ES, we have some slight SMT within there. So right at 5 a.m. we put the low in of the true day. So if you're looking at midnight open, there's your low. Even if you looked at NASDAQ over here, midnight opening price, low of the day, then we continue up. So looking for that kind of continued expansion. We got the SMT on the lows as well between these two. Also the drop into OTE of that current dealing range provided before 9:30 right in there. And we're looking for just the draw on liquidity, which would be all the way at previous day high, but obviously any kind of continued expansion into bullish PD arrays in premium, bearish PD arrays in premium would be preferred. So you have this kind of 5-minute BISI, 5-minute SIBI that's outlined here that we have not filled with candle bodies. So I'm looking for preferably up to that premium end. We can look for displacement above there. And then obviously previous day high, which technically is this, but we're going to use London since we have an overarching bullish bias of, to go to the hourly chart, this daily buy side. So I do think it'll pass through that. I don't think it'll leave this in its wake. I don't think it'll sweep this and then come back down, especially since we have the SMT there. I think we're going to likely sweep above these highs. And that takes us back to the 1-minute chart here, where trading into a reclaim for value gap. Order flow for the most part has been holding. I entered basically on the order block tap of this candle here. We saw the kind of standard open, low, high close, obviously expected in the time window. You want to see the high put in. Now, the only discrepancy, not discrepancy, but like the only issue I have today is the fact that we have FOMC minutes in the PM, which sometimes can create bad price action. We have 8:30 news tomorrow, which is not a really crazy high impact. It's not CPI or NFP or anything like that. It's just 8:30 news. And we're also in August. So a couple little things time-wise that can sometimes mess up, the both price delivery and time delivery. So not going to be expecting a whole lot of precision. Even you can see in the macro time we're tapping into a reclaim for value gap instead of the standard one. I would like to see if this also could be formed as a for value gap there. But for the most part, we look healthy enough where I'm not too worried about previous day not being hit. I think 19886.25 would be the first target. If I had 2 contracts on here, I would take a partial off there, and then obviously the previous day high. So I'll leave it alone for now. Just put kind of the music behind it in the recording, and just mark up the PD arrays, the kind of tape reading you normally see me do as we continue to expand. So I decided to close out there because we are within obviously the 1 to 1.5, which is where sometimes you can see the silver bullet entry. Now, if you look at the 5-minute order flow, we do have some inefficiencies lower with the volume imbalance there. On the 15-minute chart as well, we have this larger inefficiency. So I'm anticipating the potential that we retrace a little bit and then trade up into that AM buy side. Like I said, we could see evidence of a high resistance liquidity run around this range because we're at the point where we're approaching the market structure shift area originally. Anyways, it's not a big deal, but it's from the entry, late entry, but from the entry to the exit, what, 58 points or so, 56 points. So I'm going to take that off there. I still think we are going to reach up for the previous day high and into the -2 to -2.5, but it doesn't need to reach there, right? You're aiming for the drawn liquidity, and when we get something like this, a standard open, low, high, close profile with the SMT, nice entry before the macro time there, just because we had a really strong bias this morning. I don't need to see it trade into 1030, although I do think we're going to still have the proper time dynamics and put in that new high at 1030 to 11 o'clock, preferably reaching up for the -2 standard deviations. Still got to pay the trader, right? So if it was to come all the way back down, deep retrace into that 15-minute for value gap in here, potentially, I don't want to be in a position where then I have to start managing my stop and start managing my mental capital of allowing it to potentially come back and take my stop, or the deep retracement where it, it's rough mentally to be in, maybe not even physically in the trade. The trade could still be valid, but you still have to protect your mental capital by potentially, taking off a trade setup like this. And you can see we're starting to dip now. So you have to anticipate these kind of things given with the profile. It's almost like it was just listening to what I was saying. Anticipate these kind of things with the profile and be very, very vigilant, especially when the conditions are not optimal. So like I said earlier, we had FOMC minutes in the PM. We have 8:30 news tomorrow, and we're in August. So time dynamics and price dynamics are going to be slightly more difficult to be trading, and you have to be playing defensive in a scenario like this where, like that, my stop would have been taken out. So it's not random. It's there's a logic and a understanding as to why these things are important, and obviously playing defensive on days where you anticipate stuff like this, where deep retracements are possible into order blocks, and it's not going to be as nice as you normally want to see on like something like an 8:30 news day. So anyways, I'll probably let the recording go until 10:30. Let me make sure I'm recording. Yeah, I'll let it go till 10:30 just to see what we get, just to record the entire morning session, and then obviously if the new low or new high is taken out, then I'll probably wrap it up after that. So leave some of the annotations on screen. But I'm putting an alarm over here and alarm up at the previous day high. I did not expect that, but okay. I mean, that was pretty low resistance. There's your new high. Yeah, I was not expecting that at all. But I mean, we did have the low resistance liquidity. That was the minimum drawn liquidity. Up here was that new high to be formed within the range. But you can tell it's just nasty price action. If I take the fib again, you'll see we're expanding up into that range you wanted to see. Sorry, I'm typing it up here. But yeah, new high. We got the new high. We got the low in this inside the time window you want to see. Cycled it over to ES earlier, and you can see it's just crazy price action over here too. But we still had the SMT there and the SMT with the 1016. So these large displacement candles are really, really uncharacteristic. I would assume you kind of could tell, like a 1036 just spiking up like that is a little weird. I mean, even on ES, we got that huge candle there. But the time dynamics still kind of played out. You can see the price was just very difficult today. So there's both price precision and time precision. In this case, we had price and time precision going up into basically the macro. Then we got a drop here, which is expected. We kind of got that, but now we kind of lack price precision. You can see we're filling that inversion fair value gap, dropped into the reclaimed BISI in here multiple different times, and then we just shot up aggressively into the new high. So this to me looks like manual intervention on a day prior to 8:30 news and on FOMC minutes. So we'll see in the PM what that kind of price action leads up into. And on Friday, Powell will also be speaking. So that Jackson Hole Symposium, whatever that is, may be also the reason we're getting some manual intervention. I'm not really too sure, but there's your new high as expected with the daily bias this morning. And overall, fantastic delivery, although just difficult to capture. And I'm still extremely happy with the take profit on this short-term high. I didn't want to sit through this. I told you mentally it's going to be difficult to kind of sit through this price action where it's gyrating, maybe taking intermediate term lows, taking the stops, and you're going to have to sit through this mentally before it reaches up into the target. And you obviously don't have to be all the way right to still make profit on those kind of setups. So I hope it was educational in the least, and you can probably learn from something like this today. I would highly, highly suggest journaling a day like today and putting it in your Notion or in your note-taking software so you can look back on a day like today and still understand what's kind of going on and how to avoid maybe a day like this if you're not comfortable with the missing elements of time and price. So I'll catch you guys once again tomorrow, hopefully with the stream, Lord willing, and hopefully with some better price action as well. So take care this weekend, or take care the rest of the day actually, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.